There was a man named Lewis. He wasn't poor, but he wasn't rich either. He had a comfortable house, a simple car, a loving wife, and a daughter who waited for him every night with hopeful, shining eyes. At first glance, his life seemed stable, calm, even comfortable. But inside, Lewis carried an unquenchable thirst. He always believed it wasn't enough, that he could have more, achieve more, prove more to the world. And in his endless search for something greater, Lewis didn't notice what he was leaving behind. Lewis worked in an office downtown. His job wasn't bad. It paid the bills, guaranteed a vacation once a year, put food on the table. But for him, none of that was enough. Every time he saw colleagues wearing expensive watches or luxury cars passing on the street, a voice inside whispered, "You need more. You are not enough." That thirst consumed him. He worked late hours, often leaving his wife to have dinner alone. His little daughter waited by the window every night, holding a drawing in her hands, hoping her father would arrive in time to see it. But most nights he came home too late. The drawing stayed on the kitchen table, forgotten. His wife tried to understand, but slowly her smile grew tired. She loved him, but she knew she was losing the man she had married, losing him to a race with no finish line. And the more Lewis chased more, the emptier he felt inside. One rainy night, coming home late from work, Lewis parked his car on a narrow, quiet street. As he walked hurriedly, he heard a strange melody, a low humming, almost like a prayer, coming from a small workshop lit by a dim lamp. Curious, he stepped closer. There, sitting on the cold stone floor, was an old shoemaker. His face was marked by deep wrinkles, his hands calloused by years of labor as he worked on a pair of worn-out sandals. But what caught Lewis's attention wasn't the poverty of the scene. It was the smile. A genuine, childlike smile that lit up the old man's face. Lewis stopped in front of him and, unable to contain himself, asked, "How can you smile like that, living this way?" The old man raised his eyes, and for a moment Lewis felt as if that gaze could see straight into his restless soul. The shoemaker put the sandals aside and answered calmly, "My son, every day I am grateful for three things: my eyes that still see the morning light, my hands that can still work, and my heart that can still love. As long as I have these, I am the richest man in the world." Lewis laughed, almost with contempt. "Rich? You have nothing. Look at yourself. Your shop is small, your clothes are worn. How can you say you're rich?" The shoemaker smiled even wider. "Rich is not the one who owns many things, but the one who can see value in what he already has. You, for example, do you have a wife? Children?" Lewis nodded. "Then you are blessed. I, who have nothing but my craft, am already grateful. Imagine you who have a family waiting for your embrace." Those words pierced Lewis's heart like an arrow. For an instant, he saw his daughter's face waiting by the window. He saw his wife dining alone, and a silent pain grew inside him. That night, Lewis returned home in silence. When he opened the door, he found his wife asleep on the couch, and beside her a colorful drawing his daughter had left for him. "Me and Daddy at the park." His heart tightened. For the first time in a long time, he didn't just see a childish drawing. He saw a silent plea, a cry for love. The next morning, instead of rushing to work, he stayed a few minutes watching his daughter eat breakfast. For the first time, he noticed how much she had grown, how much she was changing right before his eyes. And in that moment he remembered the shoemaker's words, "As long as I have my eyes, my hands, and my heart, I am rich." Lewis began to change. Small changes, almost unnoticeable, but powerful. He came home earlier some days, took his daughter to the park, helped his wife in the kitchen, and instead of complaining about what he lacked, he began to thank for what he already had. With time, Lewis realized something extraordinary. His material life hadn't drastically changed. He still lived in the same house, drove the same car, worked at the same job. But inside him, everything was different. The heavy burden of comparison had turned into lightness. The anxiety of "I need more" gave way to the peace of "I already have enough," and to his surprise, the more grateful he became, the more opportunities appeared naturally. His relationships blossomed. His daughter smiled more. His wife began to laugh again. And at work, his positive energy started opening doors that once seemed shut. Lewis finally understood. True wealth was never outside, but always within him. Years later, Lewis still remembered that rainy night and the old shoemaker smiling as he fixed sandals. He never saw him again. But those words were forever etched into his soul like fire. Rich is not the one who has everything, but the one who is grateful for what he already has. And so Lewis began to live a full life. Not perfect, not free of problems, but full of meaning. Because in the end, the greatest treasure we can own doesn't fit into safes or bank accounts. It lives in simple things, in a family's embrace, a child's smile, the peace of an ordinary morning. And that is the lesson any of us can learn from the old shoemaker. Gratitude turns the ordinary into extraordinary.